A Wise Fighting Depression by E.B. Kevin. A Wise Fighting Depression is an astounding fiction book for people who are struggling with depression and for those who have relatives, friends, or acquaintances who are also fighting depression. It's a story of a young woman called Awa who grew up in Ivory Coast, Abidjan, and had a normal life until life circumstances made her depressed. She had a big family and worked really hard to support them as most of them were unemployed, but she faced lots of challenges and hardships due to her depression. Her family and her never thought that she could become depressed because she was a joyful person. Awa was a strong person, but her depression made her weak at some point in life. Fortunately, she was able to overcome her depression in the end. Do you want to know how she did it? This book reveals the secrets to overcoming depression. Introduction. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, depression is affecting over 264 million people worldwide. It's a mental health disorder that shouldn't be taken lightly and has serious effects on the body and one's mental health. It can cause fatigue, insomnia, weight loss, headache, chronic pain and inflammation. It also brings about anxiety, mood swings, loss of motivation and energy, sadness, loneliness, isolation, suicidal thoughts, difficulty concentrating, negative thoughts, loss of appetite, hopelessness, etc. But people who are depressed may not all experience the same symptoms. Some may experience more symptoms than others depending on the level of depression. The question is, should we blame people for being depressed? I don't think so. I remember a time when I was depressed for a few months and was actually surprised when it happened to me. I was living a happy life and thought I was too strong to be depressed. In fact, I didn't understand why some people were getting depressed. I thought they were too weak and I kept blaming them until I became depressed. I began to isolate myself and I was having suicidal thoughts. I became negative, I had no energy to do anything and had low self-esteem. Then I came to realize that nobody is exempt from this mental illness. Fortunately, I was able to overcome it afterwards and I learned a lot from my experience. Most of the time, we judge or blame people without trying to find out what they are going through and the cause of their problems. Nobody wants to be depressed or chooses to be. Life is full of surprises, some good, some bad. People get depressed for different reasons. Financial worries, hardship, heartbreak, lack of affection, divorce, rejection, abuse, unemployment, grief from the death of a loved one, genetics, conflict, other illnesses, and personal issues can all lead to depression. Sometimes, some of the little things we take for granted may also lead to depression. What are those little things? Well, insults, unhappy relationships, smoking, alcohol addiction, unpleasant weather, and even the city you live in. Living in a small and boring city where you don't know anyone may lead to depression. Depression is a serious mental illness that should be tackled, and the purpose of this story is to help people who are depressed overcome their depression. The story is about a young woman called Awa who was living a normal life until the day she became depressed due to life events. The story is split into 3 parts. The first part focuses on Awa before she became depressed, the second part is about Awa being depressed, and the last part of the story focuses on how she overcame her depression. Don't miss any part of the story. Perhaps, you are not depressed and might be telling yourself that you don't need to read this story. However, I strongly encourage you to read it even if you're not depressed. Why? Well, there may be people around you who are fighting depression and need your help. This story will enable you to help those people, and as I said before, no one is exempt from this mental illness, so it is crucial to know how to overcome it. On the other hand, if you are fighting depression, I guarantee that you'll be able to overcome it after reading this story. A Wise Fighting Depression is available on Amazon.com. Find the link below.